Hello, welcome to RTD English News. Tonight's top stories are: the head of state received the letters of credential of 3 ambassadors. An international conference on research and innovation to serve the resilience.
Thanks for joining us at the Presidential Palace of Republic. The head of state, His Excellency Ismail Magili, has received today in the first place the resident ambassador of Turkey in Djibouti. The latter was delivering the credentials letters of the part of the President received to whip during his hearing with the President of the Republic, Mr. Ismail Magili. The two men have mentioned the relationship of friendship and cooperation that bind our two brotherly nations. The new ambassador has conveyed the warmest feeling and deep respect of the Turkish people to the Djiboutian people. He said Turkey and Djibouti are pillars of peace and security for their respective regions.
Always at the heart of this diplomatic hearing, other credential letters have been given to the President of the Republic by the non-resident extraordinary and plenipotentiary ambassadors. And the South Korean ambassador, according to the Republic of Djibouti, His Excellency Kim Moon-hoon, has then delivered his credential letters to the President. During their hearings, the South Korean ambassador has mentioned the cooperation bonds between Djibouti and South Korea. He then evoked the geostrategic importance of Djibouti for the sea traffic in the sub-regions. And finally, the President of the Republic has received the extraordinary plenipotentiary Canadian ambassador, Mr. Philip William Baker.
He said that Canada and Republic of Djibouti share a common heritage belonging to the Francophone, but also the partnership links, especially for the Horn of Africa, in maintaining the stability in the region, in particular in the framework of the African Union in Somalia, and with the humanitarian commitment through the World Food Programme. He emphasized that Canada will provide financial support to the International Organization for Migration in Djibouti, and finally refer to the major role of Djibouti within IGAD.
The International Conference on Resilience, Research, Innovation has been opened today at the Hotel Kempinski Palace. Placed under the leadership of the Head of State, His Excellency Ismail Margele, this conference will help to develop, harmonize, coordinate, support, and implement the policies of resilience against dryness, but also the programs and strategies through improved cooperation among the countries and actors involved to increase the international partnerships. The conference has seen the participation of the First Lady, Mrs. Khadra Mahmoud Haid, the Minister of Higher Education and Research, Dr. Nabil Mohammed, Ambassador of the European Union, Joseph Silva, the FAO representative in the Republic of Djibouti, and from the IGAD, Mrs. Emmanuelle Guinan-Blage. the coordinator resident of the United Nations system, Mrs. Valerie Cliff, as well as the members of the government, the parliamentary, and ambassadors accredited in Djibouti. This conference has, of course, brought together scientists, experts, practitioners, policymakers, academics of different areas of food security, energy, and the management of conflict. They have all gathered to make an assessment of the investment knowledge for identifying innovative technologies promising in terms of resilience. It's a must that research must contribute to a sustainable economic growth, as well as to the development and to securing the means of social substances, economic and cultural rights of the community of the Horn of Africa and the Sahel. The representative of FAO has been the first to make a speech where she was pleased to participate in this international conference.
In fact, in the Djiboutian context, but also in the broader context of IGAD region, as well as of arid and semi-arid regions of African continent, it has been established the need for research in order to contribute to a sustainable economic growth, she said, as well as the development and the securing of a social livelihoods, economic and cultural right of the communities of Horn of Africa and the Sahel. With the emergence of a concept of resilience, the development patterns, the actors of NGOs, as well as a plethora of actors, are now engaged in one way or another in the value chain of the knowledge in this field. She has indicated in her speech, therefore, the question to evolve beyond this sectoral research toward a search for intellectual, the resiliency becomes fundamental. In Djibouti, as a region, the resilience is at the heart of the overall objective of the strategy framework for FAO, namely to the eradications of hunger, food insecurity, of malnutrition, the eradication of poverty through social and economic progress, and the sustainable management of natural resources. She said, as for the representative of PNUD in the Djibouti has in her speech indicate that this event is the result of many months of cooperation between the United Nations Agency, IGAD, among other sub-partners of Djibouti. This demonstration to the rest of the world and the international community that the small countries can organize this kind of events on technical and complex subjects.
In its intervention, the European Union Ambassador in Djibouti, Mr. Joseph Silva, has emphasized interesting ideas such as local and national economy as well as on women. Let's listen to the Ambassador of the European Union.
In the Horn of Africa and in the IGAD region, resilience is actually one of the priorities of the cooperation policy of the European Union as part of the world illustrates all too well the famous sentences philosopher Heraclitus of Ephesus, nothing is permanent except change. Our works combine the structural response, emergency response to humanitarian aid, over €1 billion in this respect from the European Union in the Horn of Africa since 2011. A structural response with programs like CHAR initiative, which has of 250 million or 15 billion franc Djibouti, supporting agricultural and pastoral populations in areas such as irrigation, farm diversification, and supports of capacity of public service to respond and better manage crisis situations as they arise. I recall that among the targets adopted last month in New York include the commitment to reverse by 2020 the trend of desertification worldwide, especially in Djibouti. Resilience and water next to the liquid and solid sanitation priorities area of intervention of the European Union for several years, and more recently with the 10th European Development and Background 11th EDF, which covers the period 2014-2020 among our current projects Djibouti. I will mention CHAR Water with a budget of €8 million or nearly 2 billion francs Djibouti to facilitate access to drinking water with the construction of boreholes and the Dikir region, especially on the axis that orally and about Asal Lake, west of the region of Arta and in the catchment area of Bisidru. I will also mention pastoral share, which with a budget of 5.9 million euro, 1.4 billion francs Djibouti, secure pastoral system in Djibouti by improving the resistance and means of adaptation of the rural population to the new challenges of changed climate and other structural changes in their living conditions and production. During the period 2014-2020, providing for us to put some 5.2 million euro provision of access to water or sanitation projects for the benefit of the Djiboutian population.
The Minister of Higher Education and Research, Dr. Nabil Mohammed, has for its part recalled the importance of the government's place on resilience. Let's follow his interventions.
First of all, Mr. President, thank you for your presence here, has started the Minister in his speech. That marks the importance that you attach this conference in the line with your vision to work for the sustainable development of the country and the IGAD region by encouraging the sharing of knowledge and development of science and search for mastery technology. I thank all those who have made this event with a special mention for our development partners and researchers, teachers, technicians, and the University of Djibouti for their work. Ladies and gentlemen, because we are convinced that if the man's research mastered the air, sea, and land, it can develop new knowledge, new technology to preserve our Mother Earth and leave future generations in a very good conditions. And knowingly failing to fully manage the unpredictable risk, there is an agreement to prepare. This is where resilience is set off to the appears by on a balance. There is an agreement on a definition. Resilience is the ability of multiple information definitions, such as society, economy, populations, to cope with an events or unexpected disruptions and a treat by developing coping skills, the ability on an entity to recover most of these duties after receiving a shock. In the debate and reflections of this conference, we have associated with the resilience innovations of generating new concepts to materialize, realize, and achieve the adoptions by those in need. But as you know, the majority of innovation require technical and scientific skills, which is why the approach, research, and also to meet you this morning. The opportunity will be given to participants of the debates on the capacity of research and adaptations, transformation, and development of our society. The idea is to create and strengthen a network of experts to get them to work together and develop projects for the region.
At the end of the interventions, the head of state has stated that Djibouti is working to develop strategies and clear and focused programs on the resilience in all its forms since its rise of 2008 to 2011, which has been fatal to our economy. Let's hear it from the President of the Republic.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the government and the people of the Republic of Djibouti, I would like first of all to extend my warmest welcome to all the distinguished delegations that have come to attend this very important meeting. Following the adoption at the United Nations Summit of the Agenda 2030 last September, which sets out 17 sustainable development goals, and only a few weeks prior to the Paris conference, I am pleased to attend this conference on resilience, research, and innovation. The present conference is a follow-up of last May's summit on risk and opportunity related to the environment held in Djibouti and the partnership with Yale and Berkeley universities. At that summit, we have proposed and promoted the establishment in Djibouti of an East African Observatory for Climate Change that would bring together scientists, practitioners, and experts in order to develop the most sophisticated and the most innovative models and technologies in this field. If need be, this demonstrates that the special attention my country has always given to the environmental challenges facing us. This also demonstrates Djibouti's willingness and commitment to be one of the actors and stakeholders of this issue. By exploring ways and means to help our people manage risk and to better prepare them to environmental disasters, and thus increase my people's resilience, especially when we know that more than a third of our citizens live in areas at risk.
The Minister of Energy in charge of Natural Research, Mr. Ali Yaqub Mahmoud, has received yesterday the Executive Director of Qatar Development Fund, Mr. Ahmed Al-Shawani, who has introduced to the Minister by the Ambassador of Qatar to Djibouti, Mr. Jabir Jassim Surur. This meeting, which was attended by the Ambassador of Djibouti in Doha, Mr. Mumin Hassan Barre, and the Director General of EDD, Mr. Jama Ali Gelle, is part of a project to build a wind power plant which will be entirely funded by the Development Fund of Qatar. With a capacity of 60 megawatt, the legal status of this future central will be a joint venture between the Electricity Company of Qatar and EDD. This wind power plant will be equipped with the last frame technology, and more particularly of the EDD, whose expertise is globally appreciated in this area of renewable energies. For the Minister of Energy, Mr. Ali Yaqub Mahmoud, the realization of this future wind power plant is part of the roadmap of the government of Djibouti Energy Matter for arriving at the production and development of clean energy, permanent, accessible on the whole territory of the country, and especially a low price. It also illustrates, he said, the excellence of diplomatic relations that Djibouti maintains with the countries of the Arabian Gulf, including Qatar.
The Qadari delegation from the Development Fund led by Mr. bin Mohammed Al-Shabani visited this morning on the side of the Lake Assar Rift, which is the most visited site in the term of geology and energy. It is in this sense that this delegation, led by the officials from the Energy Ministry, went on this strategic site in the framework of a clean and renewable energy. This visit took place also in the presence of the Ambassador of Djibouti in Qatar, Mumin Hassan Barre. This visit reflects the desire for the two countries to consolidate and strengthen the ties of friendship and cooperation in the area of renewable energy. In an interview, the head of this delegation, Mr. bin Mohammed Al-Shawani, has indicated that the purpose of this visit comes in the context of Djibouti's development and to make it the first African country to have a green energy.
A seminar on the training of project management took place yesterday evening at the municipality library in Djibouti under the theme How can a present project of creating a company. This training has been given to 30 young trainers from diverse backgrounds, including students of the university. It has been provided and initiated by the Association of Young People for Social Development and the Preservation of the Environment, known as Cartile. The primary objective of this training was to provide to these young trainers the spirit of entrepreneurship entrepreneurship and learned to methodology to be flow for the establishments of creating companies. In fact, this training has been a sort of simulation so that these young people can take in hand and participate in the economic development of their country.
The Secretary of State for Youth and Sports has organized last night the 80th final contest for the best and the most elegant speaker of the Republic. It took place at the Goulet Football Stadium. This contest has been initiated to allow the youth to express themselves freely on specific themes and to be able to realize the speaker within them. This comes in the framework of the numerous actions implemented by the Secretary of State for Youth and Sports, Badoul Hassan Badoul, for the development of youth in accordance with the agenda of the Head of State, His Excellency Ismail Margele, who paid it to the youth. The jury has conducted the elimination and selection for the quarterfinals yesterday evening. This competition has gathered several hundreds of persons in the capital, but also those in the regions.
The Adelo Community Management Committee has held a general debate on total abandonment of any form of female mutilation in cooperation with the UNFD and UNICEF. This awareness meeting took place at the Adelo village located at the 63 km of Tajora city. Upon their arrival, the delegation was warmly welcomed by the local elect, Mr. Kamil Ali Muhammad, the Okals and the respective committee of the villages. The local elect, Mr. Kamil Ali Muhammad, thanked in his intervention the UNFD for this action, which is very important. He requests from them this kind of debates. This event has gathered several persons such as religious leaders, the Okals, women and the young people in order to better convey the consequence of this surge. Finally, the Deputy Prefect of Adelu has encouraged the noble initiative of the UNFD and UNICEF.
In the framework of the fight against smuggling of goods, the custom police, in close collaboration with the battalion's inter-army through the region of Ali Sabieh, have intercepted yesterday a quantity of smuggled bags full of 10 parcels of 200 buckets of cats. The smugglers wanted to sell this quantity in Ali Sabieh region. According to the standards procedure, this quantity has been destroyed in the presence of the customs police of the region. The Director of Customs and Indirect Taxes has congratulated the agents of the customs who are struggling day and night against this smuggling and put in custody the smugglers who are harming the economy of the country.
I wanted to notice Abdul Qadir Muhammad Abakar, a 29 years old man, has left home in October 20 and his family is still looking for him. He was wearing a green shirt and a black trouser. In case someone find him, please contact the following number of his family: 77 81 15 and 92.
Moving on to the international scene, Third India-Africa Forum Summit kicks off today. Some African nations have huge oil and gas reserves, and India is keen on forging closer cooperation with them in the energy sector. Let's listen to this report.
Today, India has the third edition of India-African Forum Summit in New Delhi to further strengthen its political, economic and diplomatic links with the African continent. The major focus of the week-long summit will be the tapping of embedding opportunities and expanding two-way engagement in the various sectors with the African continent, which has seen the participation of 54 nations. On October 26, India hosts top officials of African nations, while on October 27, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj will host her African counterparts. The summit meeting will be held on October 29, in which head of state and governments will participate. A total of around 1,000 delegates, including head of governments, ministers, officials, and business leaders, are expected to descend on Delhi to the event. Let's not forget that the first summit was held in New Delhi in 2008 and Ethiopia hosted the second in 2011. African countries account for over 60% of total concessional lines of credit that India extends.
In the south of Asia, Afghanistan and Pakistan have been hit by a 7.5 earthquake, which the death toll is reached 100. More information, let's listen to this comment.
A magnitude 7.5 earthquake has struck South Asia near the Afghanistan-Pakistan borders, killing scores of people. The quake was felt in the Indian capital New Delhi, though no damage was immediately reported. India's northern region of Kashmir experienced intense and prolonged tremors. The epicenter was northern Afghan province of Badakhshan, which borders Tajikistan and China. It was centered on a remote area of the Hindu Kush mountain range. Reports from Pakistan said the quake was felt across the country in Islamabad, building shock and people poured into the street in a panic, many reciting verses from the Quran. According to a military statement, Pakistan's army chief ordered troops to the area affected by the quake.
This is it for this edition. Thank you for your attention and have a wonderful evening.